Good afternoon. My name is Nick and I'm running for class president. The question I have for you today is, do we advance medicine? Is it just a slogan on the medical center's website, or can we say that the class of 2009, that you personally advance medicine? This election is not a choice between the guy on the inside and the guy on the outside. Josh and I are both on the inside. We sit on the same committees representing our class, the Basic Science Curriculum Committee, the Technology and Medical Education Committee. We both have developed strong relationships with the administration. I meet with Dean Buck-Farkeltz as the course liaison for physical diagnosis, and I meet with Dean Catanese weekly in Curriculum Committee and Technology Committee meetings. The question in this election is not about past titles or positions, but about which leader has made the bigger difference here and will make a bigger difference in our experience here and in our responsibility to advance medicine. These past 2 years, I've been able to get widespread support from students, faculty, and the administration in meaningful ways that have improved the NYU School of Medicine experience for everyone. I brought you Health Score. I proposed broad changes to the anatomy course and was hired this summer by Dr. Bogart to effect what I proposed, working with the anatomy fellows. I brought you screen capture. I brought you a stapler for Coles 201 and helped bring about Pharos printing kiosks so thousands of dollars wouldn't be wasted each year on printing by non-students. And now I'm working for Dean Catanese on a project to provide our class with an online Q bank for pathology. Actually, there's an interesting story to the stapler. For the past year, week in and week out, I've sat at time meetings asking IT for a stapler for Coles 201. Finally, Dr. Walton, who sits on the committee, got so sick of hearing me complain about a stapler that she broke down and bought the stapler herself. So you can think of that stapler as her way of making up for not letting us go to the bathroom during exams, making us show up an hour early to twiddle our thumbs, then posting signs warning us not to cheat, and banning screen capture. Everything I've done began when I experienced the way things are and thought about how much better they could be. Each time the class backed me 100%, and working with faculty and administration, we were able to effect significant change. So in answer to the question I asked in the beginning, do we advance medicine? The answer for our class, for you as a member of the class of 2009, is a resounding yes. If you don't believe me, ask a first year. One told Dr. Worth that he couldn't imagine what it was like not to have online flash videos of every pro section taught by this summer's anatomy fellows, or the online histology-like modules for each anatomy lab. Ask them if they think it's better now that every lecture in the first and second year is screen captured and lecturers are using a mouse, so when you watch the video, you can see what they're pointing to. Ask them if they got anything out of the video of Dr. Hillman's review for neuroanatomy, Frank's review of the eye exam, or Yelena's review of the cranial nerves. Ask them what they would prefer, having all the study materials, online videos, advice from big SIBs, organized by topic on Synapse, or flooding their inboxes at the beginning of each semester, only if they were lucky enough to have a big SIB who cared. There's no limit to what we can accomplish by student initiative and student leadership. When I was working on the anatomy curriculum this summer, Dr. Nakbar, director of the project, told me that he'd been working on Dr. Bogart to get him to do pro-section videos for 20 years. When I asked him why only now he had changed his mind, Dr. Nakbar told me that the request really had to come from students, as well as administration, for change to happen. Now I'm working on a pathology Q bank that began when I proposed the project to Dr. Yee last month, then met with Dean Catanese, who gave her full support and the funding to hire students. The history to this project is that students have been complaining to administration about lack of an online pathology module for 10 years. One had never been created because that's all students were doing, complaining. It took a proposal to Dr. Yee and Dean Catanese, the essential ingredient being student initiative and participation, to create the first module. And you'll get to use it starting next week. In our next 2 years here, we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do some real good for each other because of the pallet system. If things improve in one pallet early on, and they benefit the rest of the class then they benefit the rest of the class who has the pallet after them. With the right leader, we can address the issues that have bothered third years for years. I'm speaking of working to have all clerkships give students mid-clerkship evaluations to help them improve their performance before their actual grade. I'm speaking of working with clerkship directors to speed up the turnaround time for our grades and evaluations so that they are writing our evaluation when they still remember who we are, and we can have feedback early enough to improve our performance for the next clerkship. I'm speaking of improving our performance on shelf exams. This year, a higher number of third years than in the past actually failed the medicine shelf. The main problem, I think, is students don't know what to expect on the exam, and they don't get to practice. So to improve our performance on the shelf, I will ask Dean Cantonese to continue to support this QBank project I'm working on and expand it now to the third year, so that students who ace the shelf in a particular clerkship are hired by the school to work with a clerkship director on practice questions for students after them. With such a project, we stand to significantly improve our performance on the shelf exams. And lastly, all of you probably have heard that classes tend to drift apart in the third year. This is the issue closest to my heart. It kills me that we won't be together in Schwartz every day. Traditionally, third years get together only every few months for switch parties. I don't think this is enough, so I'm going to make sure we have more opportunities to get together. My promise to you is that our class will be invited to something at least once every 2 weeks. It's easy enough to pick a different bar in the neighborhood twice a month to meet on a Friday for a happy hour. In fact, I know 2 nightclub promoters who can get us on the list at clubs like Duvet, Cielo, and Dirty Disco every week. The best leader for our class is going to be the one who can make the biggest difference in your experience here, to engage students and the administration to work together to advance medicine. I gave you 100% last year and didn't stop giving you 100% this year after I lost the election. Next year, we'll all be in different palettes, so I can't represent our class if you don't elect me president. So, class of 2009, you know that I'm in this for you, and I've been in this for you since the very beginning. Vote for me for president. Thank you.